Welcome guys to my YouTube channel. Okay, so in the last video we talked about introduction to the IELTS, and so now I'm gonna tell you how I got band 8.5 in my IELTS listening. Okay, so I'll just give you an insight to the tricks and the tips that I use, and which actually worked for me and which I think will work for you guys. Okay, so we're gonna be focusing on listening. Okay, now listening it lasts like 35 to 40 minutes. Yes, and you'll be given 35 minutes. Yes, you'll be given 10 minutes at the end of the discussion to write down your answers. Okay, you should utilize the time. Time is the number one tip. You should know the time allocated to you, and you should utilize it. That is the number one. Okay, whether you're writing general, whether it's academic, it's the same time for everyone. So, and I think it's the same listening for everyone, no matter which part of IELTS you're writing. Okay, so now you're given 10 minutes. If it's computer based, you're given 2 minutes. This is because you are using your computer, so you're expected to write down the answers immediately inside the computer. Yes. Okay, so the next thing, after that 2 minutes, you should make sure that you don't start. Even if you finish before time, you should wait till they will give you, so you hear that you now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. You should wait for that command. It has failed so many people. They want to be fast, and they just jump in to write the answers, and the examiners will see you, the invigilators will see you. They'll be walking up and down, they'll be going to check everything, and they might rule off from that, and they will start counting from where what you wrote when the command was given. Okay, so you should wait to listen to the command. Don't be faster than your shadow. Yes, you should wait to listen. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. Even if you're a slow writer, but you shouldn't be a slow writer when it comes to it. You should work to write, you should develop yourself to write fast. So no matter the kind of how slow you can be in exam hall, if you're really focused on the time, you can complete everything during the 10 minutes. Okay, the next one I'm gonna be talking about is spelling. You should be careful of spelling. Spelling can fail you. Yes, if there should be B here, letter B here, and you fail to put in that B, it's automatically a new word, and that is not what they want. So you should be careful of your spellings. So, but you shouldn't dwell checking the spelling for a particular number. As you've written down, and maybe you're not sure that what you've written might be the correct spelling, just leave it. When during that 10 minutes, then you can think, well, maybe by that time you might know the spelling of the particular word, then you write it down. Spelling is very, very important in IELTS. No matter whether it's reading, speaking, so long as you are required to write down something that the examiners will see, it is very, very important that you take note of your spellings. So the next one is singular and plural. It is very important. It has failed so many people. Yes, I can remember during my practice days, there's this mock I was opportune to be partaking, and what failed me was I didn't know. I was thinking they said, let me say something like books, and I didn't hear the S very well. I thought it's book, and I wrote it, and that was why I failed. I failed that particular number. Okay, so you should be careful. Another thing that can help you to know if you're right, maybe if you actually wrote it very well, you should check the articles behind it. Okay, for example, if they have a book, there's no way it's gonna be a books. It should be a book. So the article before the word can actually give you a link to whether it's plural or singular that was said if you didn't hear very well. Okay, so you should look at the article, and you should read the word, you should read the sentence. Okay, for example, another example I'll give is a retail shop is looking for a cashier, and you don't know if it's cashiers. And then you think you heard cashier, why it's the other one that was said. So but when you go back and look at the article, it will give you a link to know the word, the particular thing that was said, whether it's the plural form, whether it was said in the singular form. Okay, that is very, very important. Okay, so most times they'll give you a headset. Some is an open radio where everyone hears. Okay, so during that time you should be able to listen. If you're thinking of any other thing, maybe you did not eat well, or you had some issues with some box conductors or anything, you shouldn't think about it when you are doing your listening. You should zero your mind from anything. Focus on your book, your headset and your book, because they're not gonna repeat it for you alone. Even if they will repeat for everybody. It has never happened. I don't think it has happened where they repeat. No. So they're not gonna repeat it for you. They're just going to continue, and you'll be thinking you didn't hear what is happening, you didn't hear what they said, you didn't hear what they said. They're already in number 5. That is another one. You'll be thinking, and they're already in number 5. And these people can be so tricky that they will say something, and you will think they say something like this, and you've written the answer down. Before you know what is happening, they have changed the answer, and you don't know. That is why you need to concentrate. You really need to concentrate very well, because they can change answer like mad. I don't know. They just they just want to confuse you, and you understand. So you should know. You should listen very well, because they can be saying something like oh yeah, there were 2 of them that went to the library. And the question is, how many people went to the library? And you've already heard, yes, there are 2 of them that went to the library. Another person will say, do you think it was 2 or maybe 3? And the other person, oh yes, there were 3. You see, 3 is the answer. But they were trying to confuse you, and you've already written 2, and you are happy that you've got the correct answer, which shouldn't be. So you should listen. Even when what I do is I jot down the answer. I'm so fast enough to, if I think this should be the answer, I'll just write it somewhere, still focused and still doing my listening to them. And then as I've written it, I'll just be listening. If they change, yes, I will now change it. You keep listening. You should be fast to jot down your answer. I just jot it down somewhere else, and I still listen to them. I follow them until they'll go over to the next one, and I'm sure, yes, they've gone over to the next one. Then I'll be confident to write the answer down. Okay. Another thing is, for me, I prefer reading my questions before I jump into to the answers, because most times they will give you time. They will tell you that you have like some minutes to look at the question, so you should not neglect that time. That's number of minutes, whether 2 minutes or 1 minute to look at the question. Make sure you look at the question. Just take a quick look at all the questions. When you look at them, you note the key word there, because the key word will help you very well to to know what they are, to predict what the answer will be, to know what you're actually looking for. So when you read the question, you note you can use your pencil to just underline the keyword there. You know what you are doing. Even in reading, it applies in reading too. Okay, but we are talking about listening. So you just note it down. Be fast, be fast. Before the number of minutes they gave you is over, yes, then you now go over to listen. As you're listening, because you already know what they are looking for by after you've read the questions. So it will not give you an insight to follow them tactically. You follow them to know when they hit that particular what you're looking for, a particular word that you're looking for to write. So you should follow them. So I don't make that mistake, so that if they don't give you time to check your answer before they move over to the next one, I don't do that, because I'm sure I've written what I should write. So what I do, I use that time to check the next question. That is what I do. I use that time to check the next question, because I see that one as wasting of time, because you've already looked at it before and you've written. So I use that time to think about the next question. You think about the keyword, and you think about what the answers might be. So now it will give you the opportunity to predict. What are you're predicting? You want to know if maybe they're talking about plants. So you should focus your mind that the answer you're looking for should be something that revolves around plants. If they're talking about academic schools and professions and all these things, you should say your mind that what you're looking about, like if you're talking about a kind of profession. So if it's medicine, focus your mind out. You should be looking for a medical term. That is why it is good to predict your answer, so you don't go beyond what is asked to say something else. Okay, so another thing is you should focus. That's another thing. Pay attention to the keyword. I've said it. Yeah. So you listen attentively to the recording. Don't miss that. Listen to the recording. Listen. Don't ever, if you miss a word, for example, you are asked to, as you're writing, as you are listening, you didn't hear what they said very well. So what do? Do you concentrate to know if you understand what they said? You are thinking in your mind, oh, I think they said pen, or maybe they said chair. Oh, I've forgotten. I think it's not chair again. I think they said people wearing clothes. I don't know. I think they said this one. As you are doing that, they're not waiting for you, my dear. They are moving. They are moving to the next question. And before you know what is happening, they're already number 40. It can be so confusing. And it can be so... You're already number 40. And you're still thinking about number 12. So, you shouldn't do that. Yes, that is what we are saying. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't dwell on a wrong answer. Once you've written, and even if you're not sure, maybe you think of something, write it down, something that you heard, even if it's not the answer. Just write that down. It might be the answer. Write it down. Then move on. Go over. Don't wait. You don't have to wait. There's filled so many people. You'll be waiting. You think, oh, I didn't hear what they said. Oh, I didn't hear what they said. Before they're always fast. Like before you know what is happening, they're already in a far place, and you're still left behind. So that is it. And IELTS can be difficult like that, but in practice, that is another thing. Is practice. Me, I practice in a noisy place. I can practice in a quiet place. This is because I've already made myself to understand what they're saying in a noisy place. So if I'm able to understand what they're saying in a noisy place, I can do more in a quiet place. So then in our practice center, then it was just on the road. It was on the street, that just beside a main road. So it's so busy and so noisy. And with my little baby that was 2 months old then, she will cry, but most times I don't let that bother me. I just focus on what I am doing. And sometimes during practices I'll get like 40 and they'll be like, are you a witch? But I'm not a witch, because I was focused on what I was doing. And they'll be like, how did you do this? How did you? And the answer will just be there. So I'm telling you why I'm saying all these stories is just to let you know that you can do this. Even when I did it with my baby, I started training, and within a month I wrote my IELTS. Okay, so another thing during map reading, because you'll be given a map, so you should know your cardinal points. The north, you should know where the north is. You should know where the south, the east, the west. You should just know where they are located. Okay, so that I use my pencil. Make sure you don't forget where they started from. You should know where they are starting from. It will help you. And you know, their questions and their answers are always sequential, so you should know where they are starting from. I just use my pencil and I trace, so that I don't lose track. I just trace until when they finally say the answer, yes, I wanna know this is it, and I'll write it. The first thing is you know your cardinal points, because most times they'll just put N. If they just put N and put a line below it, just know they are following east, west, north, and south. Just know that the next under it is your south, beside east and west. So you should know. If you don't know your cardinal points, you should go and know it. Another thing, you should know how they pronounce their alphabets. They can say R. R is R, but we don't know. R for rat. They say R. R, and you still be thinking it's something else that they say. Another thing, they will say H. If you don't hear it very well, you won't know. You think it's H. You think it's something else. Okay? Another, if they want to pronounce numbers, they can say O. If they want to call somebody's number, they can say 070. They don't say 0. And we Nigerians, we are used to saying 0. So if you don't know that, if you are not conversant with the way they pronounce some certain things, their words, their letters, their alphabet, their numbers, you should go and check. Me, I sometimes I even record, I browse my alphabet pronunciation, how the whites pronounce the alphabets. Do you understand? So you should do that. You shouldn't allow it to fail you, because most times they use it. And if they say 0704 and what you are saying is 078 something, you are failed. So long as what you're saying is very different from what they've already said, you have failed. You have failed that mark. Okay, so you should know that. And also, most times when they call the names, if it's not an English name, most times they repeat they'll spell it. Mr. Brown, oh, Brown is it BRO? They'll say something like that and say, oh well, that's the spell. Most times they spell it. So because some names can be confusing. If you're not from there, you may not know how this is. So most times they spell the names. Okay, so after everything, make sure you cross-check as you are transferring your number, your answers to the question booklet. Make sure you are transferring it correctly. Most times, I use alphabets. Capital letters. I use capital letters because it helps me. As most small letters can be confusing. Someone will write cure, you think the person wrote A, so small letters can be confusing. So I prefer using capital letters. But if you're using capital letters, use it all through. You cannot use capital letters, it makes your work untidy. Use it all through. Use capital letters all through. So as you're writing, try to write something that is legible, something someone can see and read well. Because if you don't write something that they cannot see, they will mark you wrong. because you can't expect someone else to read something when you don't write it legibly. So if you write something, write it very well. Yes, mindful, but you have to be fast. You have to be fast. You have to practice to finish more than that 10 minutes. Practice to write within that 10 minutes during your practice time. Don't wait during the exam so you can now write after 10 minutes. Write everything within that 10 minutes. Don't start before the 10 minutes, before they give that command. Make sure you start as they gave the command and you stop before the 10 minutes. It is very, very important. You should go over when you write fast. You can check whether you're right, whether you're wrong. Check the answers and check very well. Look at the articles, check what you're written. But if you're not sure, please don't change what you have written before. If you are not sure, before you change your answers, you should make sure you are very sure of what you have written before. It is very, very important. Okay, like I said, IELTS listening for some people, it can be very, very sweet. It can be very easy, but for some, it is a tug of war. So I am pleading for some people that find it difficult to do the IELTS listening, especially the map and the pie and everything. You should make sure you practice these ones. Know your weak points. Practice them very well. Get used to them. If you know the map is where you fail most times, you should make sure you do more of maps. Yes, if you know you fail the tables, you should make sure you do more of them. Show you anyone each section, you should make sure if the listening is where you fail much, make sure you practice the listening, but don't neglect the other parts. Don't neglect the listening, because some people, they've done the first IELTS, and let me say they failed. They passed everything, they failed the listening. Then when they are trying to write the second one, they will now start doing majorly the listening and forgetting the other parts. And now most times they will write and they will not pass the listening and they will fail the other parts. So even if you have failed before, or even if you think that each section is so difficult for you to tackle, still gather everyone, because some of them can be so difficult. It might be that is the particular topic that is so easy for you, but when you try another topic, it might be difficult. So still carry everyone along, but do more of the ones that are so difficult for you. So you should know your weak points, know what fails you, know what you failed more. Okay, so I know you can do this. I know you can actually get band 9 in listening. You can get band 9 in listening. It can be so difficult for some people. So, but with determination, just determine, I want to do this and I will do this. This is what I have to do. I have to do this because I need to migrate to another country. I have to do this because I need to I need to make some people proud. I need to make myself proud. You should be determined. And when you are determined, you can do it. There's nothing to be scared of. Okay? So when you follow all these tricks, all these tips, I'm sure you can pass this IELTS that seems like one stumbling block blocking your progress. You can push it away and move over with your life. So just read well, concentrate, be time conscious, focus yourself on the listening you're doing. Don't dwell on wrong answers. Mind your spellings. Check your spellings. Check your answers. Check be careful of the letters, the numbers they call. Read the questions very well, understand the questions, and so many more that will help you. And I'll be praying for everyone. I'll be praying for everybody, please, to get so many tips, so many notifications. Please subscribe to my channel, and I promise to get you very educating and helpful tips that will help you in your IELTS struggle. You can be difficult, can be challenging, but with God, everything is possible. I know with God and with you determining that you will do it, you do that. With you striving to achieve what you want to achieve, I know you can do it. So guilt shouldn't, no, it shouldn't stop you from progressing. You should face it tactically. I know you can do it. Okay, so please subscribe to my channel, like and share. Thank you.